How you guys doing?
We're
Good,
good.
man. Awesome, brother.
We appreciate you taking time out of your studies and your job and everything to come on the pod.
No, dude, I'm super grateful for you guys having me on here. Like, it's obviously a massive opportunity for me to get my name out there, support you guys and what you guys are doing as well. So definitely very grateful.
Where are you based? San Jose?
I'm in LA right now, Santa Monica.
Oh, San Monica. You ever go to the train at Gold's, the Mecca?
It's just so expensive, dude. It's like $50 for a day pass there.
$50?
Yeah, I
For
mean,
day pass? I don't remember it being that much.
yeah, and I think memberships now are like 130 a month. So. I work at LA Fitness, so I just kind of use that gym. I go to UCLA, so I use the UCLA gym. I use all these little corporate baby gyms. I get the work done.
I mean, a college gym sounds dope, especially UCLA, man. How's that gym?
It's okay. It's always pretty busy. I mean, I feel like there's a lot of college kids, especially in the beginning of the quarter. New Year's resolutions, new quarter resolution, whatever. So it gets really busy in the beginning and it tapers off. So I kind of avoid it in the beginning of the quarter, and then as time goes on, just kind of jump in, if that makes sense.
That makes sense, man.
What are
And
you
what are you
studying in
studying?
college? Yeah.
So technically pre-med. I've always kind of wanted to go to med school, but I think now as I'm progressing in my career, I'm figuring out that I don't really want to spend another 7 years in school. So I'm kind of either PA or PT route, but my major is physiology.
Do you find that that's been helpful as, within the sport we're in right now? Um,
Yeah, for
like
sure.
talk a bit about like some of the stuff you've been focused on or things that maybe you've applied from your studies and have given you like a leg up, really.
So I think all the way from like beginner level physiology courses to the more advanced, I'm a senior, so I've really been able to see the applications from ground zero to, wherever I am, in the sport. So like even you talk about, your freshman anatomy, physiology courses, learning functions of different muscle groups and how muscles adapt to stimuli and whatnot, right? So that's definitely very helpful in the gym because, for example, I've had a weak chest my entire career in the sport. And I just had no idea how to engage it, right? So as soon as I learned the physiology and anatomy of origin insertion of your chest, right? And the function of, okay, your chest function is to adduct your arms, right? So that's a major function, bringing your biceps together. Now, when I work out, I picture, okay, I'm bringing my biceps together when I'm pressing or when I'm doing a fly. It's like not bringing my elbows together, but I'm bringing my biceps together. I'm actually picturing the muscle function for everything I'm doing based on what I learned. And like even right in the earlier stages of physiology, I was able to apply it. Um, and now with coaching, right? So obviously, we all know the sport, there's natural sides and there's non-natural sides. There's a lot of coaches out there that don't really know human physiology and are protocoling for clients. And I feel like one of the most important classes I've taken is endocrinology, how biomarkers look and how hormones work in
Hormones.
the body, like what happens when you increase your testosterone levels. What is the negative feedback that plays on your FSH and LH production, right? Like this, your anterior pituitary sends like a signal to your hypothalamus, to your pituitary, to your gonads to produce testosterone. It's like a whole loop, right? So you can't just pump in a bunch of hormones here, pump in a bunch of hormones there, and hope for the best. You gotta know how it all works together, right? So these are very, very important things that I've learned in my degree. So and I'm still not done. This is like one of the
Still not done. It's med, bro. It's never ending.
and I love it. It's like I'm a super geek when it comes to this stuff because even beginner like I took a five class the other day. I'm a senior. Five is like one of the most introductory electives you can take. It's like a GE, and it's all about diet and nutrition. And I learned so much about how proteins are absorbed in the stomach and then they're transported to your small intestine and how it's absorbed in the small intestine with pepsinogen and all that stuff. And I was like, oh shit, now I know how to time my meals better because I know why certain things are slower to digest, why certain things are, take longer to digest and faster, and how that can, affect nutrient timing. It's just crazy, crazy amount of things that you can learn if you're excited about it and you want to learn it. So I definitely jumped into the perfect, degree for what we're doing in this sport.
Do you find that with previous coaches you've had in the past, where they're saying something to you that doesn't really necessarily make sense, and you're obviously going through the right way? I mean, you're learning it inside out at an academic level. Does that give you almost like a gut reaction, like, I gotta straighten this out? Or do you kind of just let them kind of ride it, or you ask them questions? Like, how does that relationship work?
Yeah, that's a great question because, like, sometimes someone will say something to me and it makes no sense physiologically, but it works, right? It's like there's a side of bro science in the sport, and it works. Like that. It blows my mind that someone will tell me, "Hey, you're watery. Do this and this and this, and it should reduce it." And in my mind, I'm like, oh, but that should increase the level of stress in your body, technically, based on the stimulus it provides. And that should cause you to produce more cortisol. And it's just like, no, actually, that's not what's happening. And it's crazy. So, but yeah, I mean, shit, some people do. Not coaches I've had. I'm pretty selective on my coaches, but I hear some shit that coaches say, and I'm like, I get a little visceral reaction, like I want to gag. Oh, bro, you're gonna kill your client, like, um, or at least kill their gains, like I don't know how to explain it. It's just like some people just, they shouldn't be coaches, they
I
just
mean, look, we talked offline a bit about my last coach and kind of how that relationship went. But let's just say G, my new coach right here, kind of nipped that in the butt real quick. And G, I guess in a similar background way, because G started off in commercial gyms, and now obviously he's a little bit more niche in the bodybuilding side of training. But like, G cares so much about your digestion, how things feel.
Mhm.
Does this work for your body or not? He's not just trying to like shove a round peg in a square hole.
Yeah.
But I guess my last coach was that brutal lesson on, they might be able to get results in certain ways or for themselves, but there's so many variables in bodybuilding, um, that not one size fits all.
So gee, what's your current approach when it comes to like what's kind of different in terms of like his current coaching style, or what he had in the past, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah. Um, my approach is more, every person is different. So I like to tap a lot into the mental side of things too, because a lot of things that are in the sport is mentally driven, and that can cause stress, digestion issues, and it can really affect your physique.
Mhm.
Um, besides the mental side, as far as like the ins and outs of nutrition and training, like I really like to, with training, I take it to a different level as I like to be constantly switching up the routine. I don't like to stick to the same kinds of angles and exercises. I'm very much into keeping the body guessing. You're
Okay.
still progressing on every lift, but you're always hitting lifts from different angles and different approaches, whether that's more volume or higher weight with um more less intensity or more intensity, XYZ, depending on the day and depending on how the individual feels. Like I I also, the same thing with the nutrition is just, some people respond better to higher carbs, some people respond better to no carbs or higher fats, right? But
Mhm.
that you won't really know unless you kind of change things up. So I'll give a person a plan, and I'll have them follow it for a set period of time. And as long as they're consistent with it, then I can understand how their body's responding when they check in. And
Mhm.
then I can adjust it according to the result.
Okay.
I wouldn't adjust something if the person is not consistent with everything that I'm giving them, because then there's variables. So I'll address, hey, how have you been feeling? How's the training? How's your digestion? How's your sleep? And as we're going through that list, I'm making the necessary changes so that the individual can keep progressing without reaching a plateau. And if we do have a plateau, we find the problem and we automatically, look for the solutions. I'm not trying to focus on the problems. A lot of people are always fixated on that and they overwhelm themselves. I like to look at solutions and, see how we can address the problem and get moving forward.
I like that. I think we've all had coaches where they send us a plan. And it's like, oh, this looks very familiar, right? And then like on
Cookie
someone else
cutter.
on the team, like,
Yeah.
someone else on the team, and you're like, hey man, you want to get a workout in on Wednesday? Like for sure, I'm hitting legs. Oh no way, I'm hitting legs too. What's your split? Oh, that sounds an awful lot like mine, or what's your diet? Like, oh, that sounds exactly like mine. It's just like very much copy paste. I think we've all seen it in the industry. It's very easy to manipulate like that. There's a time and place for that, but shit, I do appreciate what you're saying though with that, especially with the mental side of things. More than anything, I mean, I think the way that you keep switching things up is like keeps it exciting.
Yes.
I've had that journey where I've come to realize I used to follow my coach's workout plan religiously, and I was like, man, I can never really get my head in the game when I'm doing this, and it started getting boring, and I was like, oh man, do I even want to like? Now I'm on prep, I have low energy, I have school, I got exams. I don't really want to go to the gym right now, like it just sounds like a chore. Um, and it made me think about when I started bodybuilding, right? And not even bodybuilding, when I started working out in the gym. Like before we all became bodybuilders, we were just dudes in the gym, probably on bodybuilding.com, following the 4 weeks to shred or some stupid shit, right?
Calvin
Uh,
Moger, Calvin Moger, the OG.
exactly. And just like it's just like we all had those little plans where they would post a video the day of that workout and say, okay, this is what we're gonna do. This is how we're feeling, follow along with me. And it was exciting, right? And my dad, I remember when I was young, he would take away my car keys when I was in trouble. So I couldn't go to the gym. I was like, damn, I really want to go to the gym because it had that fire. It was exciting. Um, so you'd have to pay me not to go. Now it's like sometimes you have to like really force me to go. So I think that's become a big thing. It's like, wait, I don't like doing the same thing every day. I want to switch it up. So that's like a huge component in switching it up, like what you just said.
I,
Um,
I think I do understand why coaches sometimes it seems familiar. And at the end of the day, like, we've all helped athletes. I've done lifestyle. I know you coach some competitors now. G obviously coaches competitors, but you're gonna pull from what you know a little bit. Like that's just the nature of the game. That being said, the ability to adapt a plan, right? So like if a coach gives me a plan, I'm like, okay, I've seen a few cuts guys post about this or something. Like I've seen this before. Fine. I'm not going to actually judge that because it might work and it might be completely factual. But if I'm telling someone, hey, I have an injury or I'm doing this or this is not working for me, and they have no ability to change that or adapt or deviate, and then they try to force the same thing down again, that's when it tells me, okay, you're copy pasting and you're not making it your own.
yeah,
Um, another thing I like about G's coaching is he has a lot of trust in you until you give him a reason not to. And like there is a lot of look, at the end of the day, the sport's on you. Like your coach can guide you, but you gotta do the work. So like for example, G lets me he'll give me guidance on like how many body parts he wants me to hit a week or whatnot. But frankly, I like to train alone, and he trusts me because I've taken my programming from a lot of my career in other sports and being able to put it into my own. And if he didn't see progress or there's something he wanted to tweak, he would let me know. But he also has that trust, right? I know Chris is a little bit different than me. He likes to just turn off his head and just go to the gym. It's like, what are we doing? I want to go. Like, tell me what to do. We'll do it. And that's totally fine. And his ability to work with those kind of athletes is what's going to make him a really good coach. Whereas there's so many coaches that just they don't want to have to adapt at all, and they don't want to give that trust to their athletes.
for sure. And I mean, like, there's also times where you got to consider, like, what if the gym is super packed like sardines and you can't follow the exact workout program?
You mean
I'm like,
January 2nd? January 2nd?
Yeah, January 2nd.
got
It's
to figure
like,
what am I going to do that's different, but still the same? You still got
yeah.
to go, but kind of change things around. And if you talk to your coach and he's like, why didn't you do exactly this and then that and then that and then that, or you record your workout, God forbid, to post it online, and they're like, what the fuck? I don't even have you doing hex press on your program at all. Like, why are you doing it? Right? It's like, look, so and then you got to like almost explain the physiology of what you're doing to your coach, and then it's like you're coaching your coach. And I don't know, I feel like
It's a constant back and forth.
yeah, as you know, I don't know if you know now, I'm with DJ here. I recently made the switch over, and I didn't realize that a bodybuilding coach could be so normal. Like my previous coaches, I've had some good coaches, I've had some bad coaches. I'm not going to talk names or anything because, every coach I've had, whether good or bad, has had good aspects or bad aspects, like both. I was with Ben, he was fantastic. He kept me on my program. I was with James, he kept me on. James is a bit more relaxed. Ben's a bit more aggressively like, hey, follow the plan. You want to be great. Um, and I feel like super important. You're talking, G, about attacking the mental before attacking the physical, right? Like kind of actually like working on the mental side of things and making sure that the client is actually calm and stress free, and stress leads to poor digestion, which leads to poor sleep, and that's so important. And that also depends on the athlete archetype, because there are so many different kinds of athletes, right? You were talking about Chris. Tell me what to do. I'm a worker. Send me into the gym. Tell me what to do. I'll do it. Then there's other people that maybe need a bit more of a nudge, like, hey man, you got a shoulder injury, kind of play around with it, see what works, it doesn't hurt. There's so many different athlete archetypes, and I don't think there's ever a bad coach. I think there's a wrong coach for you.
Communication styles is big, right? It's how
Yeah.
you receive information, and I've seen too many times where there's too much back and forth between coaches and clients, and either you get on the same page or look, obviously our coaching style isn't working for you. So
So get a new coach and don't be butter.
yeah,
Like
Yeah.
yeah,
uh
Yeah.
that's what it really comes down to. It's like we all need to find someone that works with us the way that we need them to work with us.
you got to have a rapport. If I
If I
can't trust my coach, then why are you with me?
or if I can't divulge my feelings to my coach.
Yeah,
Like, you know what? I'm super packed with school. I am a senior at UCLA pre-med. I'm packed with exams and shit. And you know what? I didn't get to work out this week. So that's actually a conversation I just had with DJ Pierre. Last quarter, I pulled, I think, 14 all-nighters, basically, somewhere there, which obviously
damn.
isn't ideal for bodybuilding. And with those days, I didn't work out. Um, and I remember having anxiety, being like, "Oh shit, how do I tell my fucking coach?" Excuse my language. I'm sorry. I was like,
Go for it.
how do I tell him that I didn't work out? I didn't follow the meal plan. I barely got any sleep this week. Just like everything wrong, everything you don't want to tell your coach. And I was like, you know what? He's a new coach. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just be honest.
Be honest.
I'm just going to tell him what it is, and based on his response, we'll see if this coach-client relationship is going to continue or not. Because this is a very real side of my life that sometimes shit hits the fan. Shit gets hard. And his response was, "Hey man, thank you for letting me know. I'm just glad this is in the off season and not during prep." Super normal response. He was like, "Handle your business. School comes first." And I really appreciated that, because the coach I would have had in the past is like, "What the fuck are you doing? You want to be a pro? Like,
Yeah,
if you want to be a pro,
they'll
you gotta
induce
fucking
more stress, and then physiologically that just puts a toll on the body, extra cortisol, and then you're gonna end up looking like
You
shit
know what it is?
anyways.
It's the gaslighting that is
Yeah.
very present in
Then
sport, because let's put it this way, David could say that, and then DJ Pure could have very easily said, "You must not want it that bad."
yeah,
Like
he could have
we
put
all
him
have
down.
the 24 hours in a day, whatever. Now, that being said, like we all have a head on our shoulders, right? You can pretty quickly tell the athletes that if they have a reason for not doing something, it's probably a very good reason, and they'll make up for it in other ways. And then there's other athletes that will look for the excuses and take advantage of the excuses. And it's pretty clear the way, like, and David, this is the first time we've really all connected together, but you obviously hold yourself to a certain standard. You take bodybuilding very seriously from what we can see.
for sure.
So, if I was your coach and you told me that, like, I don't think I would have those qualms where like, oh, this kid might not be for real. It's like, no, like he's going through it right now, and he's also honest. I mean, I know my last coach who was like, there, I have a bad back, and there was a point in time where my back was so bad, I was
Yeah.
almost in tears doing my check-in photo, and the response just was, instead of being supportive and trying to find a way to get through it, it was like, why are you even doing this then? And starting to question the why. And it's like, with G, it's like if I tell him I have an injury or whatever, he's like, don't stress. Like we'll do this and this. And to be honest with you, I've actually, when my back flares up, it actually calms down quicker now, probably because I'm less stressed out about it.
Yeah, and that's huge.
Yeah.
Uh,
So
David, it sounds like you balance a lot, on your plate. How do you manage that stress? How do you balance everything?
You
Besides
know,
the communication part.
yeah, not well, but I do it. Yeah, I'm not gonna say I'm perfect yet at all. I mean, I sent you guys my schedule when we were trying to figure out when we were gonna meet up, right?
Yeah,
On my schedule, I literally have this class, space, this class, gym, this class, space, work, right? Because I work at LA Fitness. Um, and that's the only way I've been able to balance it is like actually time scheduling everything.
schedule.
If I don't do it, it's not going to happen. And last quarter was a nightmare. Like I told you, I had all these all-nighters. I didn't work out, didn't eat my meals. So now that's a new approach for sure. But I mean, I think what it comes down to is I'm very consistent, and I've had very, like you said, I have a very high standard for myself. I think Alex, you mentioned it, right? Like, if I tell a coach that I didn't work out, it's not because I was like slacking off. Like, they pretty much just assume, oh shit, must have been real if he didn't do what he needed to do to be the best that he can be. Um, and a lot of the balancing is just really reminding myself that, hey, no one's got to do it for me. I mean, I'm an immigrant. I'm from South Africa. I moved here on my own. I,
Nice.
wow.
I started my own life here. I got into UCLA of all schools. I mean, I'm pre-med, I'm a bodybuilder, and I have a really good track record in the NPC so far, in my opinion. I brought in really good, consistent looks, and I feel like a big part of that is just like I've set this bar for myself that I can't let myself dip below because I'll take it very personally, and I think so balancing it, biggest thing for me is like time blocking. I'll literally have every time I find a little space between a class, I'll have a meal, you know. And every time gym, like for example, like I told you, sometimes the gym gets busy. I have to be able to adapt and change my workouts in such a way that it will work, right? So that's really the only way I can balance it. And GH is expensive. So I gotta get a job and figure that part out too. So just keeping it real.
Yeah.
So like, you know, I don't do it well, but I'm working on it. That's definitely something I'm working on, and I could do a lot better. Um, Sometimes I mess up, you
Well,
know.
it's a journey
Well,
nonetheless. But as long as you're able to identify yourself that you're not going to physically burn out, because there are times where you're going to hit that wall, but
Mhm.
how do you prevent that actual burnout, because it's inevitable at this point, if you're always on but you said it yourself, hey, sometimes I don't work out and I gotta give myself grace on those days.
But I will say, a big thing to answer your question of how I balance it all is I put gym in my calendar, in my schedule.
So there's
I
no excuse.
put it in there and I treat it like just any other class that I have on my schedule. It's just my gym class, and that's the class I really want to get an A in. It's like
Mm.
there's some classes I have that's like, okay, that's gonna be an easy class. I'm just gonna let it slide. I'll hope maybe get an A, maybe get a B plus, whatever, whatever. But this gym class that I have, I
Yeah.
better get an A every time I go there because I'm gonna step on stage probably in December. And
Nationals?
yeah,
Texas.
yeah, I'm tired of being told I'm too small, so we're kind of taking some time to grow. But yeah, when I step on that stage, I want to be valedictorian. I want to beat all these guys, and I'm like, I want to be the best in the world one day. So if I can't do that
Of
now while I'm in
course.
IFBB, I'm gonna do it as an IFBB pro, right? So that's just really come down to the grace period, sure, but I don't want to skip classes. It's a bad habit I used to have in the past.
Yeah.
So I'm not skipping this gym class that I have a schedule on there. That's like that's one of my classes. It's a non-negotiable. If I have to miss a meal here and there, sucks, but I'm not
I
missing my
mean, going back to knowing yourself really well, like our previous guest, Lynn, Bikini Girl, really good student of the game. Like she really pays attention to stuff, and if she has to tweak something with a meal, on the go, her coach trusts her, or trusts her, or if she has to add carbs because she feels like she needs more, but it's because of years of her paying attention and really caring. So like going into the gym and being able to deviate from the certain exercise, but knowing what the actual goal of that individual exercise was. I mean, with you and your training schedule, like, I mean, unless you're failing school or your placings are really dropping in NPC, I would say you're actually doing a pretty good job. I mean, you've reached like ranked fifth at a national show. It sounds like your school's going fine as is. So maybe it's not going as smoothly as you'd like it, but it does seem like you're doing a pretty darn good job of juggling what
You're
you
doing
got to do.
something right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're
you're
doing
doing
something
something
right.
right.
yeah. I'm very grateful for how I've placed and performed in the NPC so far. I definitely feel like it's, I tell my partner this all the time. Growing up, I was never the guy who excelled in anything. Yeah, I was the guy who kind of just rode the middle in everything I did. I was getting the passing grade for a class in South Africa is 50%. I'm the 50% guy, the 55% guy. I'm on the swim team, I'm nothing special. I'm on the running team, I'm nothing special, there was nothing that I was really, really good at until I started bodybuilding. And then all of a sudden, everyone was like, wow, you were really, really good at this. And I was working with James at the time. And then the judges were like, wow, you were the most conditioned dude on that stage. Or you have really good lines or aesthetics. And I'm like, damn, dude, I'm not used to this gratification of being told, hey, you're really good at this.
Good
You know,
job. Yeah.
and I don't have the story that like, I think Deke's story was really awesome, where he was like, and I've heard it a lot from a lot of people where people like, you should compete. You should compete, like that's a common story that you'll hear. And for me, when I did my first show, holy crap, one of my biggest regrets is that I did that first show at the stage that I did, because unfortunately those pictures will be on NPC News Online till the day I die. But I was the guy that wanted to compete, even though a bunch of people told me I should wait, right, and get bigger or get better before I competed. So I already knew that that's where I wanted to be, what I wanted to do. And I just got better and better and better and better as I went along. And I've really, really found that I love the sport, and I want to be the best. It's crazy. It's like I go to sleep and I imagine myself just being the best one day, up there, top three, the Olympia. That's the end goal. I mean, we all want that, but
Of
yeah,
course.
but
But
it's like
you said it yourself, man. It's all about the journey. Forget the first time. Someone told me this and it stuck with me. The first time you compete is probably the worst you're ever gonna look, you know? And then it shows the transition, the journey part of bodybuilding, right?
We
for
all
So,
sure,
start somewhere.
yeah.
for
Um,
sure.
I mean, this is my second go round. I used to play international lacrosse, for the England national team, and now I'm turning 35 in a couple weeks. It's crazy to say that, but completely different stages, right? Like, you have so much time. And even though I'm in like my muscle maturity now, you have so many years ahead that you really don't need to rush it, especially with the success you've had already. I would say focus on that as, if you're ever getting stressed out or you feel like it's overwhelming, I would say before going to bed, it's like, but you remind yourself like how much time you have to accomplish the goals you need.
Yeah.
Um, because frankly, in this, I saw, I don't know if you follow him, but James English posted a YouTube video the other day, and he was posing with Derek Lunsford and Matt Grego, and he basically said, "I'm going to pull out of this prep, and I'm going to wait another 3 months because they told me I should eat more and get a little more size before I go into it." And I was like, it's so refreshing to hear these younger guys now, especially the young LA guys, come out and just act way more mature than some of the other athletes in the sport that are older. And they're not just slamming gear for the sake of it. They're actually saying the opposite. They're saying, actually, I need to focus more on food and the basics and take my time. And that was so refreshing to hear. I know Ant Montanello has been a big proponent about doing things the right way. Because you do hear some of the negatives of the dark side of the sport, but it's refreshing because it's almost like there's a new life coming into bodybuilding now, like a little bit of a smarter, more intelligent
Mindset.
approach. Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. I mean, you bring up Anthony, and he's been a huge inspiration of mine growing up in the sport. Like he's kind of been the same journey as me. The most shredded dude on stage, the best lines, the most aesthetic, but never big enough, right, to get that damn pro card. Until one day he was. But it's crazy that you mentioned that. I think Tim Wilkins is not going to be talking about him anytime soon because he was like, "Oh, this gear thing, I don't like what it's doing to me in my life, so I'm actually dropping out of professional bodybuilding." It was a sad day for me to find that out, but
I really hope I respect his decision. I wish he had done one show, just one pro show, because obviously that was his goal of getting to the pro stage. But I have a feeling he'll eventually come back, maybe for,
I'm
I
sure he will.
mean, he's got so much time, he's still so young. Going back to your comp though, I mentioned to Chris and G a few times that for me, because I'm hopefully getting to the national level this at the end of this year, and I've been natural to I'm still currently natural. So for me, size has never been like I'm not going to be the biggest dude on stage. All I have to go by are my aesthetics and my proportions, and obviously add the size over time, which is why I took last season off. But I'm really thrilled and excited that we're rewarding people like you at the national level because it just tells us that it's not just a size game. Like there's got to be quality to it and there's got to be aesthetics to it. Now, G's got a lot going for him when he gets back to the national stage, but G is just, I'll never beat G's size. Like, it's just not going to happen. So I'm going to have to find some other ways to kind of hang in there when I do get to nationals. And then when you placed fifth, I forget which, I think it was Universe, right?
But yeah, my first national show.
That was, because there were some guys, there were some pretty big dudes there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean Travis Yao was in my class, man. He came second. I mean,
Oh,
his
yeah.
debut freaking came second to what's his name? I always forget his name. Samurai Shreds. What's damn
Clarence Mosqueda.
Oh,
Christmas
Oh
Spread.
yeah.
yeah. Yeah,
Came
yeah.
second to him at first, pro debut, and then I think he beat George Brown at that show or something. Like it was kind of insane. So yeah, that was a great year. Miles Mann won the overall that year.
So
That's crazy. I remember Clarence from 2019 Miami Nationals. He won his pro card there.
was
Yeah.
Yeah,
this,
yeah. So that's the one I came fifth right there. Um,
This what year is this?
I think 23, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah,
23.
This is
23.
your first national show?
Yeah, that was 2 weeks after I did San Jose. So yeah, I think it must have been 2023.
Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't competed nationally yet. The universe is gonna be, God willing, my first show.
There, by the way, that was my highest national placing right
Yeah.
there. That
This
one,
show.
yeah, I came fourth there.
Okay.
Um, I don't know if you guys know Mohammed Smartzik. He also did that show. He came second, and then he did Universe with me, and he missed his pro card by one.
I do think that your rear delts and your delts add so much to your back pose. Um, I think people always focus so much on the back itself, but like it's a good example of what you can do to other areas of body to make the back actually look bigger than it is.
And the
Not that you have
taper.
a weak back, but like the rear delts are definitely a strength of yours for sure.
For sure. I've always, if you scroll all the way down to the bottom of my profile, you'll see like that's been a focus of mine since before I even started,
Right.
bodybuilding. Like that was one of my main things that yeah, right there when I'm doing the face pulls, laying on the ground, like kind of really, really focusing on that rear delt. And I kind of like, that's always been a big focus of mine since the beginning of my journey. It's just been rear delts and nailing those and learning how to engage them. Because I knew sure as hell one day that's gonna be something that people are gonna say, your rear delts are really good. And this was the day right there where you just said that. So um it just
Hey, we
showed,
made
yeah,
it.
it just comes to show that that's man, looking at this right now, I wish I didn't have such an F-boy kind of profile, but
I wasn't even thinking about that. I mean, but it's funny.
Bro, I have to say though, like yeah, aesthetically, like you got it, and like once you had
Yeah.
the size over time, it's that's really all that's missing. And not even that you're like small guy. Obviously, none of us are small, but like obviously the level the Nationals are now with the size they're bringing. I mean, there's a bit of a bottleneck, right? Because there's only so many pro cards. Why do you
Yes.
think so many of these pro rookies are doing so well so quickly? You have Ricardo Sanat winning at FGP and going straight to, and then winning nationals, going straight to Olympia,
Yeah.
and you have my boy Brandon Cantaloupes, right? Like I mean, he pulled out early last year. He probably could have made it to the Olympia if he wanted, to, like if he stuck it out. So that
Easily.
just tells me that these guys that have been veterans, quote unquote, like the national shows are pretty much a pro show now. I mean, I'm not gonna say they're all pros, but you look at the top five guys, and if you showed someone that wasn't as familiar with the sport, they would believe you that that's a pro show.
Yeah.
Well, see, you did Universe win last year, or was it the year before?
Last year.
Last year.
He did last year, yeah.
Big were the people at Universe last year. That was the most competitive Universe out. That was my coach at the time, Ben, said that was the most competitive national show in a long time when that one happened.
Last year.
Yeah, last year.
Yeah, I believe it.
You know,
Dude,
so
Texas this year, in my mind, Texas this year was by far the craziest thing I've ever seen.
yeah,
And it's
Matt,
just gonna
I'm
keep
really
on getting like that.
happy
It's
as
just gonna
well.
keep on.
Yeah,
So
it's
What height class are you?
I'm Class C.
What will be your weight cap be when you go pro?
It's something I still need to figure out for myself. I think it's probably gonna be around 192 to 197. Somewhere there. I'm not entirely sure because it depends. I get heighted in differently every single time,
really
really. Yeah. That's the nice thing about when you turn pros. I believe they height you in once, and then that's just what you go by forever. I don't because that was also a problem is
pretty
people
sure
try.
that's Brandon Hendrickson has a 190 something weight cap, like
Yeah, and
197.
we're basically the exact same height. I don't know if you. I think actually, I don't think I posted it. I posted it as a story, but there was a story where Brandon and I are like the same height. At the Olympia. Let's see. I actually could pull it up in like 2 seconds on my phone. Yeah, I know because I tagged Celsius in it. So that's like Brandon and I next to each other. It's like the exact same height right there.
You kind of out angling him
Yeah.
there, man.
You know, it wasn't even the intention, but oh man, that's such a nice guy, bro. I don't know if you guys have ever met him
I've
in
met,
person.
yeah, he used to live in
Yeah.
Miami, so I've run into him a few times.
Such a nice
Yeah.
dude. My girl was there too, and she was just like taking pictures of my entire interaction. And he was like grabbing my shoulders. He was like, "Bro, I need shoulders like these." Um, and,
G's got a B Henny story.
oh yeah, what's up?
Yeah, but I can't drop it this episode. I gotta get Brandon on the podcast first because I
We'll
gotta.
talk we'll talk offline about it.
Yeah, we'll talk
We'll talk
later.
offline about it.
I'll be waiting. I'll be waiting. Can't wait.
Yeah.
No, I like him. I like him a lot. He seems cool.
Yeah, he's great people.
he,
Love him.
he he's very humble. I was flown out for a dark sports photo shoot in Hawaii for 2 years ago, and I got to meet all those people, and they're all down to earth, man. You could see how free bodybuilding is. You don't have to like put up a fake persona, and just be yourself, So that was
How did that
dope.
happen? How did you get something there? Like, are you a dark sport?
No, 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 no. They constantly put out this email saying if you have a story or whatever, send out a story. I was a police officer. I got hit by a car, suffered a traumatic brain injury. Um, and that was just part of my story, and I sent that to them, and they flew me out for that. So it was a dope experience.
I like that. That's cool.
Yeah.
I didn't do that. I know they do like the athlete searches and whatnot, but that's pretty cool. I didn't know they do that little like segment where they get people's stories to come on. I like that. You should talk about that more on the podcast. Heard that.
Yeah, I
Oh,
mean, well, one day we'll see. We'll
Yeah,
see. I got to bring one of those guys on and we'll just chop it up
yeah.
about that. That makes
do me a
sense.
favor. Don't be like a certain someone in the sport who like gets one injury and talks about it every podcast they get, and be like, oh my God, that's why I never stopped training legs because it reminds me of the time I almost wasn't able to train legs ever again. So like
What are you talking about?
Oh, we know
uh,
exactly what you're talking
hypothetical.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. That's sh shots fired.
No, 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 no. It's a hypothetical person that doesn't exist yet.
Yeah.
I'm not in the sport yet, and not trying to run my name in the ground, and then all of a sudden have this person post a story every 2 seconds about me.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
That's
telling
right. That's right. It's
This
we've all
hypothetical person.
some.
hypothetical person.
Yeah, I've been there, so don't worry about it. It's not that bad.
Hey, but some people trauma dump, and they just like it makes them feel better about themselves being an asshole or
Well,
whatever, I guess,
here's the thing. Here's the thing.
whatever it
Everyone,
may be.
everyone in the sport, from my experiences, has a sad story. Okay, they have something that they've had to overcome in their life, right?
Yeah.
Not to say that they haven't had fortunate lives too, but whatever it is, there's some kind of big hurdle that they've had to come across. I can honestly say, everyone I've met in bodybuilding, I either love them or really dislike them. Like, I don't really have many people in the middle where I'm not sure about. It's like
Mhm.
I either build a very strong connection with the person, even if it's just online, like just through the connection, or people
Mhm.
I really want to stay away from.
I mean,
I
like
don't
you
know
and
if
I have voice for how long and we've never met.
exactly, right?
This
Like
is
it's
the
just
first time
like
actually talking voice to voice, apart from that one time you hopped on my live.
I did hop on your live to support you. Yeah, I remember that.
So I guess this question is since we're talking about this, how has competing changed the way you like mentally, physically, and emotionally in all sense, in all aspects?
I mean, if you can suffer and get shredded and wake up in the morning and say, you know what, I have no energy, I'm gonna go do cardio, you can kind of do anything. I mean, like you have to be psychotic to be great in the sport, right? And I think just the willpower, the mental strength that you gain from doing even just that's why I always tell people you need to do one prep. I don't care if you want to be a bodybuilder, do a prep. Any person, anytime, do one prep. It's gonna change your life. It's gonna make you so much more mentally strong and teach you about time management and defining your goals. Because if you need to get your workout in and you don't work out because this reason or that reason, you're not going to look as good on stage in 2 weeks when you're competing. I mean, like it's just like really, really good for your persona, like mental strength and like or that personal growth of just becoming a bodybuilder. Insane. So that's a good question. I've also learned to stop, like I said, riding the middle. My whole life, I was always down the line in the middle. You don't have to be great. You don't have to be the worst. Just kind of be okay. Screw that. That's like out. I don't accept that anymore. That mentality is out of the way. I have to, if I'm in class, I'm the top earning, grade in the class. If I'm at work and I'm earning minimum wage, I'm making the most phone calls to sell the most contracts to get the most commission, like now I need to see my name be employee of the month every month. It's like that's who I am. And that's only started from the day that I was like, you know what, I'm competing in 16 weeks and I want to be that number one person.
Yeah.
And that's kind of really changed my entire life. And anyone who knows me knows I'm a very intense person in that way that like I will be present and I'll go to parties, I'll go to clubs, like whatever. But as soon as it's time to lock in, uh,
Locking. Yeah.
and that's my best and my worst quality. I'm a great friend until you never see me because I'm so locked in, like uh but that's what competing's done for me. That's what's changed for me. I don't want to be average. I will never be average again. I won't let myself.
You
I
want to
have too
guess our
much.
you want to guess our team name?
The
GLA.
what's
Above
that?
average.
Above average.
That's our team.
Oh,
That's a
really?
that's a team name. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah, I
G
need to
Squad.
fly to Florida so I can get a lift in with your team. Then it seems kind of fitting.
Oh,
Yeah,
you're
bro.
you're more
Oh
you're more
yeah,
than welcome to come
definitely.
down here. We got
You'll
so
love
many
you'll
gyms
love
down
the
here.
gyms down here. Yeah.
Or we go to
One,
Cali.
one,
The boys go to Cali. We could do that.
yeah, you
But then
can
we gotta train at
uh,
the Mecca
one
though, at
bedroom
least for the
apartment. We
one
can
time.
fit a bunch of air mattresses, whatever. Uh,
Oh, heck yeah.
well,
I gotta take it back to the army days.
hey, man, it would work out. It works out. You find that the less you require in life, the easier it is to satisfy you.
Well,
Yeah.
we're gonna be in Vegas for the Olympia.
Oh yeah, that is happening.
Uh,
Oh,
well, because
let's definitely.
I mean I'm hoping I'm aiming to compete in the amateur, so we're planning to get out there and maybe even maybe find some guests to do a live pod out there. Just because Vegas is is really blowing out with bodybuilding. I mean, that's why B. Henny moved out there.
Did you
I
guys
mean,
go last year?
last year we did not make it. I was there the 2 years before though, both years before that.
Amazing Olympia it was last year. Sorry guys, she won't shut up.
No, you're all good. The 60th, the way they did the brand, it was really cool. Um, I thought they did a great job, and it sounds like that's just the beginning. Like in terms of how they're investing in it, their goal of eventually getting the Olympia to be at like an MSG or something with that kind of venue.
We,
It's by the time years online at the Olympia, it's going to be something completely different.
you know, I tell my friends, give me 3 years.
3 years.
3 years I'll be
That
there.
that's a solid time frame.
I won't say 1 year because that's kind of like we all want to be there in 1 year. Give me
Yeah.
three, give me 3 years. That gives me time to be a pro, to grow as a pro mentally, and to deserve to be there. In 3 years, I'll be there and I'll be top 10.
There you
You know,
go.
actually, this broaches an interesting subject about being competitive and setting goals. And like, for example, a lot of people ask me why I don't talk about me wanting to get a pro card a lot. And it's not that I don't want to get my pro card or plan on getting one. It's more so that I'm just so hyper focused on the next step first, which is getting to nationals and looking my absolute best there. Maybe it's because of my history of being in sports, of being a freshman, becoming a senior, being a freshman all over again. Because, when you're the top dog in high school and you go to college, you're at the bottom again, right? And there's a
Yeah.
lot of people that they go from regionals, they'll win a couple overalls, they go to nationals, and they get their ass kicked. And then they feel butthurt about it. Instead of just accepting that that's what it's supposed to be, that's the natural progression of things, especially where the sport is now. And then you get to the pro stage, guess what? It's going to happen all over again.
I
And
mean, look at
then,
man, right? He won the overall at
universe.
Universe,
Yeah.
and he didn't even make second call outs at his first pro show. It's
Yeah.
or TJ Sanchez, right? Like Tyler Sanchez. He amazing. I don't know if you guys know him. He's with Cuts. Wow.
Sanchez, I don't know him. How do you feel in general about the MP guys? It's gonna be an exciting season. It's gonna be a really exciting season. With Dre coming back, B. Henny, I think Chiron's coming back.
He's coming back, and
Jerem Buendia's last year, like in physique, probably. I know he's tempted to do classic, but
he's not gonna do classic. He has too many injuries for that. But he's not going anywhere. I mean, like I know him personally, and I know like the way he talks off camera. It's just like he always says like, yeah, man, I have so many injuries, and yeah,
which he
smile.
does, which he does.
He does, but
Yeah.
then he doesn't talk to me like about, oh man, just that fire that he feels, just like man, I want to be that person again that everyone's like, damn, Jeremy's showing up, we might as well just not show up, like so I don't think he might take a couple years off again. Like I do believe that, but I don't believe he's not ever gonna like go away. Just like
Yeah.
see,
Well,
like it's done. No. Oh, but you asked the question about this year,
yeah.
dude. I'm so excited. What a movie. I mean, even just the Pittsburgh Pro. We got
It's
we got
a mini
So
Olympia they call
so
it
we
now,
we
huh?
all we all kind of like obviously we talk about on the side and we have our thoughts and differences about it. Um, I think obviously you have Ali, you have Banks, Haney's coming back in the mix, and they're just all such different looks, which is cool. I mean, I personally think Banks probably has the most aesthetic look you could possibly have besides being AI generated. I just think his proportions, like nothing overpowers anything. But then you how do you look away from Ali's
midsection.
abs? And then
And
he also
so,
the way
so
the way he controls the other things about the sport, like just how you look, the tan and like it's a lot of things that he does really well too. And then you have a guy like Ryan Terry who almost doesn't even make sense because Brandon showed me a photo of him standing next to him the other day, and I'm like, he made Terry look like he was an OCB competitor, but it's only because with a shirt on, Terry doesn't have really big arms. It's really his lats that they just don't stop when he gets on stage. They just keep going.
yeah. No, you know what? I love Ryan Terry's physique. I've grown up being obviously watching bodybuilding.com and videos and hey guys, today we're gonna train abs, whatever. I've always been a huge fan of Ryan Terry. I think he's been with USN. I think he's still with USN. He's been with USN since like 2014, probably, right? And but I think he's on his way out. I think Ryan Terry is definitely phasing out. But I think Brandon is going to come back in. I think he's gonna take back the title this year. I really,
Really?
I really,
Ooh.
I think his back needs work though.
his
The
back needs
wave.
nothing of his is super blown away by anyone else's body parts. His back is not the best, but it's not the worst. Like if you took his back and put it next to Ryan Terry's, Ryan Terry's not going to make his back look like it doesn't exist. You're going to take his front and put it next to Ali. Ali is super, super, super like shredded, right? All details, but he's not going to make Brandon look soft. He's never made Brandon look soft in the past. It's just like Brandon's a good like 80% of everything, whereas Ali is like 95% front, 20% back.
Although I thought his back did come up and he also fixed his posing in the Arnold because leading up to Arnold, the stuff he was posting, I was like, I don't know if I see it. And then he fixed his back like at the last minute. I don't know if it was on purpose just to mess with people, but his hands were like this and it's all
Oh,
his
it is
free
okay,
shots.
video.
And then as soon as he gets on stage, he dropped them. And then
Yeah,
yeah.
he's just
So
kind of losing that lower back density. That's what he's kind of doesn't really have all that much of because he doesn't have the weight to put it on. Like Drew Cullen can like make his legs smaller so that he
that's what he's doing apparently.
yeah, so he can make his back bigger. But Ali doesn't have huge legs. If he makes his legs smaller, he's gonna lose that top to bottom balance, and then he's gonna get knocked for that. He definitely can't make his chest smaller, like so. It's just like I think Ali can definitely win. Don't get me wrong. I love Ali's physique. I've always been a huge supporter of him, and I've always wondered why he was the last call out until he wasn't, right? Um, but I don't think he has that ultra dominant physique because Banks, if anything, Banks is the dominant physique there. But again, Brandon's just got that X frame, and that I don't know how to explain it. I just feel like Brandon, there's a reason he's won four, right?
Yeah. No, no,
Yeah.
three.
Three?
Three.
No,
Yeah,
they're
no,
three.
he's three. He's trying to tie with Buendia.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen the side by side of Banks when he won the Olympia and Banks at the Arnold, and it's wild to think that just not that long ago he was number one in the world, and now he's second at a non-Olympia show, but actually looks better than he did when he was number one in the world. That's how quickly the division is growing.
And
It's
it's
insane.
terrifying.
It's
It's kind
insane.
of terrifying because like I'm sitting here, I'm like, damn, when are they going to create a fit model for dudes so that we
They
actually
they have to do that.
The fit model
Put
for
put it
dudes.
this way. Put it
I
this
like
way.
that.
If you have in the NPC guys, I have a buddy of mine. He won. He competes in MP. Then he goes out to Vegas and he wins Jen Dory's classic overall and Mark
well,
Anthony's
I
show.
won the
Right.
overall.
So, but like we have guys across the country that are winning classic and physique at the same show. Imagine if you had a physique woman winning bikini as well at the same show.
Yeah.
And that's what's happening.
Um, in what junior nats last year, overall for men's physique, and the overall for classic was the same guy.
Hmm.
Make this make sense.
Gee, when you get back to classic, bro?
Soon.
Too many injuries. Ah.
That's vague.
Nah.
Yeah,
No, but G just got his leg finally fixed, so we're gonna see a dangerous G next time.
I was
It's
gonna
gonna be
say, geez, sounding a lot like High Green right there.
yo, yo, G, you gotta find that video of you walking out on the Texas stage. You were so big, but because your legs
that's
had
a
deteriorated, because you were really hurting on your legs there, but
yeah.
it's like all his weight just went.
All, all to the back and
He
chest.
looked like Ed Von Palmero walking out there. I was like, oh my God.
With that male bravado.
Scoop
Um,
show.
shit. I that's one of my big goals in life is I want to do classic. I definitely think I'm gonna switch one day. But speaking of which, Kaiki, huh? Kaiki's looking
He
crazy.
looks incredible.
Like I
He
don't know if
looks
you want to put it up, but he looks insane.
I
He
have to
looks
say, the classic division without even C-Bum is heating up. I mean, you have Terrence, you have that kid Anton, who's going to be the future. You have so many classic guys that Matt Grego is getting better. You have Viscer's, I mean, the list goes on. You have like 10 guys
Terrence
now.
Ruffin.
Ruffin.
yeah,
I,
and you
I
got
was talking to G about, and I think Alex about this yesterday, about how the division just looks like it's going to a different look, though.
Okay,
But
okay. So
I
David, when you look at Mike's physique, Sommerfeld, and you look at Logan, right?
Ruffin, or yeah,
What,
okay.
when I look at it, I see Mike as more. Put it this way, you could put Mike Keon and Martin Fitzwater on the same stage, and they would look like they're in the same class. And that's three different divisions, right? The reason why I see that is because they have very small waists. They have that hourglass, right? And I think it was Tyler was talking about how no, like Mike is definitely the classic look. And then in my mind, I'm like, okay, now I'm getting confused because I always thought that classic was resembling the older days where they just weren't they couldn't have that shape because they weren't as big. They were a little bit more streamlined. So
yeah.
I look at Logan's physique, I'm like, damn, that is class. That couldn't be more classic, right? And you
Mhm.
look at Mike, and I'm like, why is he not competing with the Keons? Like,
Well, think about Keon. He came from Classic, right? There's a reason.
did he?
Like, yeah, Keon
Yeah.
came from Classic. Um, so I could definitely put Mike and Keon on stage next to each other and agree with you. I just don't agree with the Martin because I think Martin, yeah, he just has a really good frame. I just don't think he has that classic look. I think Keon and
Well, because
Mike,
he's the biggest of all of them. That's why he's the biggest of them. But they're going in that trajectory,
yeah,
right?
as long as we keep that weight cap, I feel like it's gonna stop them from finally crossing
Yeah.
over Martin sector. But Keon's just got like that frame that allows him to get so big and stay classic, right? Martin doesn't because he got bigger and then his waist got bigger. I just don't see Keon's waist ever growing. Um, that's a really, I think I heard Milos, was it Milos or someone said, people keep confusing classic physique with classic bodybuilding. And the golden era is classic bodybuilding, right? So I do think Mike is very classic, and it's very controversial for me to say it, but I think so in terms of his frame, his structure, tiny waist, flaring lats, great X frame. Because I feel like when it comes to bodybuilding, they start to weight the importance of the actual taper and the X frame, right? Like look at Nick Walker coming third at the Olympia, right? At some point, the size is just so overwhelming that you can't deny him. But in classic, once you lose your shape, you're not going to get rewarded. So let's say Mike now goes into the offseason, blows out his waist. He's not going to win. He's not going to win classic. It's not going to happen because every time Tyler puts out a video talking about Mike, he talks about look at that tiny waist into wide flaring lats into sweeping quads, right? He always mentions just this like taper effect, and every time he talks about Keon, he always talks about or not. I think next strength and power always talks about like he's a big classic guy. Um, I do agree about Logan. I almost just feel like Logan is just too incomplete. I agree that Logan has more of a classic look. I just think you can't reward him until he has pound for pound
Oh,
the same.
by the way, I would still put Mike ahead of him. You can't not. It's just more of like, does Mike belong in that division with him to stop
Mhm.
him from winning that division? It's more of the question. It's not that Logan would beat Mike ever right now. But am I crazy in saying that Keon might have the best structure of the entire bodybuilding community? I mean, it
Um,
doesn't even make sense.
So he could do any division he wants. He could slap on a pair of board shorts and look good. Um, I think Keon is one of those genetic phenomenons that I don't know how they exist because his insertions don't make sense, right? Like, how is he getting so big, but his waist is staying the same size? Like, it doesn't make sense. He has the structure where it's like his lats insert just above his hip to the point where they can keep growing and it will make the waist look like there's a string tied around it and someone's just pulling it, right?
Yeah.
Uh, and the more he grows, the more we're getting that effect of someone tightening his waist. And it's like, it makes no sense. Physiologically, again, like sometimes someone will tell me something and it makes no sense physiologically, but it works,
Well, G's physique doesn't make sense. His shoulders are bigger than his head.
Damn, that's a problem that we all wish we had. I want to hear you guys' I do need to hop off soon because I need to go
Yeah.
to work. But I really, really want to hear your guys' predictions for Pittsburgh coming up. Or are you
Brent,
guys
yeah,
who
Brandon in first place, Ali second,
do you have in first?
Brandon,
Okay, my guy.
yeah, Ali second. Who else is in that lineup? Is Aaron there, right?
We got
Aaron
Aaron.
third,
We got
Aaron
Diego.
third.
Or
Diogo's going to be fourth, and who else is in that lineup?
Vitor?
Vitor. Yeah, we got Ed Von Palmera.
Is Costa competing in the Pittsburgh Pro?
I think Emmanuel Costa is competing. Carlos Ocron, the Chinese guy, like got eighth in the world or seventh, something like that.
Brandon Cantaloupes, our boy's gonna be there.
Oh yeah, I heard that, huh?
Oh,
He's
Brandon's gonna be there too.
Yeah, it's crazy. He's just so big. I mean, he's got 15 pounds to lose, and he still looks crazy shredded. So that I'm like, I can't imagine how shredded he's gonna look by
I
by
need to see
Pittsburgh.
him.
He could be in that mix.
He could
I
be
need to see him.
absolutely.
I need to see his stage look a bit more to be able to.
He's so Brandon's thing is he's just got such fullness with conditioning. Like everything is so 3D about him. I always joke with him. I'm at like an IMAX movie when I'm watching your opposing routines. Like it's just it's like that shelf. His chest are literally pillows, and his arms are so big. It just adds even more to his frame. For me, I think if I if I was judging and it came perfectly, I would probably have Banks winning. But I think Ali will probably pull it out because of I'm not even gonna say politics, but like there would really be a reason for there would have to be a good reason for them to like knock him down, I think, at this point. So I'd probably give it to Ali, Banks second. I'm gonna go. Who else is going? We said
Hendrickson.
I'm gonna pull up the list.
Henderson, Vitor, right? Vitor's going.
Hmm.
Is Diogo going?
Yeah, I believe so.
Then I have Diogo third.
We
I
got
have
Ron Clark. We got Carlos
I
Ocron.
got Behenny fourth, and then Vitor fifth.
Okay.
And then you have like I think Brandon Candles could be in that sixth spot. I think he could be in the top call out. I
I think he'd
think
be top five, yeah,
I
or
think
top five, top six.
Emmanuel Costa is going. I think he's looking
Hmm.
nutty.
Well,
Um,
you said Brandon Kent loves top five, right? Okay, remember who you have
six,
in top.
six. No. I had Henny as
Okay.
Oh, B
fourth.
Henny four.
You said
Uh,
fourth?
yeah, I have Diogo over him
That's
now.
that's crazy.
Diogo's back was even better than Banks at
Oh,
Arnold.
He's gonna get four Olympiad titles.
I don't know.
He's gonna
I mean, I just all right. I
He's gonna be
just
like, oh yeah, I'm fourth. He's like four Olympiad titles.
look,
He's gonna get one of those
look,
Nick Walker
my like
shirts.
look,
are you
look,
He's
gonna
like,
win?
who the fuck is
Yeah,
Alex?
ask me how many championships he's gonna win.
I mean, look. You have to also understand that as much respect as we have for Henny, he hasn't stepped on stage in a while.
Yeah, he still needs.
Let's be real about it, right? Like some of these guys have made some incredible improvements, and I think it's gonna B Henny's been moved. He just moved to Vegas. He just did a big move, so there's just too many variables for me to feel confident putting him in the top three. It's not that I would be totally shocked if he did it, but
Mhm.
I mean, are you really gonna? Could you confidently say he's gonna beat out an Aaron and Ali, who it looks like for everything we've seen are just continuing to tighten up, improve? It could happen. But
Yeah.
He's gonna beat
we haven't seen it in a while. That's just like
you have
there's
him in
more.
fourth. Who else is beating him?
What's up,
You have him in fourth. Who else is beating him?
Diogo? Because
Yeah,
Diogo's
I don't
I
know,
don't
man.
see that, bro. There's no way.
they had Diogo beating.
There's no way.
I'm just going by the stats. They had
There's no way.
Tyler said he had Diogo beating Banks at prejudging at Arnold. So Diogo was going to be second to Ali, and then it was just because
That's fair.
Banks
That's fair.
and Diogo came to the water late finals. Like, so I think it's pretty consistent with what I'm saying. If I have Banks at second and Diogo was just
But
beating.
two of those guys never even beat Brandon Hendrickson.
Yeah,
But BNA has
yeah.
been on stage in 2 years.
But here's the thing about Brandon, right? I do agree. It's been a long time that he's been on stage, so like he might have a
He
tougher.
needed time, if
You don't
anything.
have to agree with me, but I think my points are pretty valid. And
I agree with your with your-
Diogo's back is crazy. I mean, to say it's
I
better than
agree.
Banks, because Banks was always dominated the back, and now it's like Diogo's back is something else.
Banks' back isn't that great anymore.
I don't know about that,
No,
bro. Come on, he's
No.
pretty
Hear me
fucking
out. Hear me
good.
out. Hear me out. Hear me out. It's
I don't
great.
think there's that much detail.
It's great, but his back has stayed the same in the last 2 years when everyone else's back has been improving.
Oh, it's definitely
So
gotten closer. It's definitely gotten
2
closer.
years ago, he was the best back in the division. Now everyone's back is kind of starting to look a little bit like his, and it's almost like he hasn't really grown it all that much
No,
since.
I will agree that the gap is definitely closer. I will agree with you there, but I still think he's got a top two, top three back in the world. But Diogo, his core will always hold him back, I think, from winning these shows.
Yeah.
But to be fair, I think he could pull out three. But I could very easily see Behenny beating Diogo. I could very easily see it happening. I'm just going by what I've seen and Behenny being out for so long. That's no disrespect to one of the goats
No,
of
I
all
love
time.
it. I love that you put him in fourth, man. That's really interesting because I feel like that's gonna be a huge who's gonna be right between us. Is
Hey, look, I mean, this is why we love the sport, right? Like, how many times have
Any
NPR
given
guys
Sunday, right?
made their predictions and it's like the complete opposite of what all of them said.
yeah, I mean
And
the
they're
Arnold,
pros.
for example, right? Like Emmanuel
Yeah.
Hunter came sixth. Like
Costa, you mean Costa?
Emmanuel Hunter on the
Oh,
Arnold,
man, Hunter. Oh, E-Man. Yeah.
Yeah.
everyone had him winning. Shit the bed. It's like think about Wesley Vissers this year in the Arnold. Like it's just like it really is anything can
Anything can
happen.
happen.
But I do
Well,
want to really quick just mention you said Brandon hasn't been on stage in 2 years. So I
yeah.
agree, it might be tough to nail that peak, but you got to remember he kind of stays in
Lean.
really good condition year round, where he doesn't have to pull off like a Chris Aceto, really drastic like peak week to get in shape or get the look because he stays ready. That's kind of his thing. So I don't think it's going to be too much of an issue in terms of peaking. But I'm excited, man. But Chris, what was your prediction, bro?
I would say Brandon Henderson first, just because I don't, it would be refreshing to see a new Brett B. Henny. The rest of the places are interchangeable. So Ali, Aaron Banks, uh, would throw. Is Vitor competing? Did we confirm that?
Diogo,
Vitor,
Diogo. Yeah, but
Manuel Costa. I think his
Costa
yeah.
Costa, he was in my top six for the Arnold. I'm just gonna leave him up there, And then Brandon, I feel like Brandon could easily, Cantaloupes could easily make it in that top. And what's the first call out? Like 7, 8?
Yeah,
Yeah. You also have to understand that there's always after all these shows, right? When you look at the lineup and the placings, there's always some kind of shock. There's
hmm
always some kind of shock. So when I'm doing my predictions, there's got to be something to it that's like, really? Otherwise, is it really a prediction? So like me saying that, Behaney would maybe not even crack the top three, that might be my shock. But again, like a placing, it's always a risk of what you predict at. So I think any of those guys, Behaney, I think Behaney has more of a ceiling though than Diogo, right? Like if things are really hitting for him, I think he could push maybe second place, whereas I don't think Diogo is really going to get past third, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
absolutely.
especially in that show. That show is very
It's
competitive.
still limited. It's still limited in the midsection.
Who you got? Who you got, David?
I got a top eight here just because I don't know if you guys know about the Men's Physique radio platform that they created.
Yeah, yeah, I
Yeah.
do. Yeah.
So I got it all listed here. Okay, I got B Henny for the win. I have Aaron Banks beating Ali, so Aaron Banks in second. And I'll tell you why, because he's getting really pissed off. He's tired of not winning. So I think he's gonna nail the peak this time. Um, he's picked up all the weak points they said need to pick up, so he's got a better chest now. Just nine needs to nail the peak. Ali below, you can't keep him out of the top three. You'd be crazy. I have Vitor in fourth, beating Diogo because Diogo's biggest thing is his proportions, right? I don't know if you guys have seen like Vitor's updates where he like just stands and he's like hands above his head and he's twisting around and showing his like midsection. His waist is like tightened up
It's crazy.
significantly. It's like I don't know what happened, but Cuts is really tightening up these guys' midsections. And then Diogo in fifth. I have Ed Vaughn in sixth because I mean Ed Vaughn came fifth at the Olympia, beating a lot of dudes. Then I have Carlos Ocron, the guy from China. And then in eighth, I have Ryan Clark. Ryan Clark, I don't know if you guys seen his updates. He looks insane. He's bringing back that elevator conditioning for sure. That elevator lighting conditioning that we always talk
yeah.
about. Wow, he looks really good. And he's got like what 4 weeks until the Pittsburgh Pro? On 9th of May, yeah, about 4 weeks. So that's
All
it's gonna
these, I mean, all these guys are going to be top 20 in the world. So at the end of the day,
none of these guys are going to be outside the third call out. I'm going to say, which blows my mind to say, right? Third call out, like that's insane. That's insane
For
how many people we have.
for the Pittsburgh Pro, bro. That's good. It's crazy to see how big these shows are getting now. That if you can't make it to Olympia, make it to one of these shows, and you're basically getting, you know,
You're you're getting that comparison, which I think you're crazy if you don't compete. And like when else are you going to stand next to Aaron Banks and Ali Bilal? When
yeah.
next? When are you going to have the opportunity to get compared? because the way the sport works is you can have an amazing physique, but if you're not next to these guys in front of the judges, they're not going to put you next to them at the Olympia for sure. Like you need to stand next to them every chance you can outside of the Olympia, so the judges see you in that call out with them. I don't think it's politics. I just think it's when we think of Aaron Banks, we think first call out. Lee Blow, first call out. Like Ryan Terry, first call out. They're going to automatically put these guys in first call out. I love Jeremy Buendia. I don't think he should have been in the first call out when he competed at the Olympia this last time. I don't. I think so many people should have placed ahead of him.
I thought
But
he did in the lead up, he did look good, but he even admitted it. He had digestion issues and he just it wasn't it for him on show day. But
and he
I actually did think he did a good job with Zeke. Like we're looking at his prep, he actually looks pretty good. It's just
looked
his look is very unique and different, and it's not quite the board short look that is nowadays. It's a bit like the lines are just different. But um yeah, no, it's gonna be an exciting year. It's kind of like I don't know if you guys watch tennis, but like when Djokovic, Federer, and Nadal were all playing at the same time, it's like no one can how's going to be dominant in this kind of field like with
is that
with
like a Florida thing watching tennis?
no I grew up in London, so I used to be a big tennis guy
Because
growing
I was gonna
up.
say that's the first time I've ever made. I heard someone make a comparison from bodybuilding to tennis. I must
I
admit,
like to sports are sports, right?
for sure.
So hey man, look, it is awesome to have you on here. We're gonna want you back on, man, in the future. I know like you have a bright future ahead of you. And we appreciate you being a support of this channel. Like we're trying to give not only the pros but also like the people that have been hustling and grinding a chance to have their story be told.
For sure. And you know what? I really appreciate you guys, having me on here. Um, I got so many more stories that I would love to share, in terms of like my immigration and, my upbringing and kind of what's brought me to who I am today. So I would love just the opportunity to keep sharing it. And this is the start of that. So really, I'm so grateful for you
Oh, like
guys
real
having
quick, do you have family over here, or was everything left behind
South
in
Africa.
South
dis-
Africa?
distant relatives. I have distant relatives I don't really communicate with much here. But all my family that I consider is back home in South Africa.
They watch your shows, or
My dad's never missed a live stream.
that's awesome.
He's never missed.
Support goes a long way. And it doesn't matter, there's no excuse. So wherever you're at, that's good.
Correct. My dad will pay as much as he needs for every live stream, and he'll make sure I get every Gilco video and every picture because that's his son, and he's a huge supporter. He obviously doesn't love that I'm doing bodybuilding and all the risks and all that involved, but
Yeah.
at the same time, he's super proud of me,
Yeah,
and
but dude, you're being smart about it though. You know.
I am, I
And
am. That's
you're learning more, you
Yeah,
know.
and I know how to do it smart because I know endocrinology. Like I know how to, be smart about it and what to do. So for sure.
We'll be seeing. I don't know what shows you plan on doing this year, but we're all gonna be competing, so we're probably gonna cross paths.
100%. I really hope
Yeah.
so. I mean, gee, it's a bummer that you and I didn't know each other until after we competed together at Universe. But
Yeah,
sure we will run into each other again soon. So, and you, Alex,
definitely.
good luck for your shows this year, bro.
Yeah, man.
Chris, real quick, are you competing still or what's your plan?
Yeah, so I'm doing chiseled in 12 weeks and then I got well, we're aiming for Universe as well. So this will be my first national show this year. Yeah.
Okay, very nice.
Yeah,
I
bro.
I don't think I'm gonna compete in Universe, but God willing, I'm gonna have some athletes that will be competing, and right now I'm starting to build my roster for my teams. I've been working with one or two people right now, completely free, just applying everything I'm learning in school. I don't want to charge them until I know that I really know my shit. And I'm using them as guinea pigs, and they know that. Like I'm learning everything and I'm applying it and I'm seeing what's more applicable and what's not. So I think, hopefully by that time I'll have a couple athletes that, I'll be able to push towards
Well,
an.
there's plenty of later shows too, and I know like G's got a pretty full roster now, so it's I know
We're definitely gonna run into each other at some point.
he's trying to scatter us though, so he can optimize the amount of overalls he can get. All
Exactly. There we go. All right, guys. Well, I
right,
appreciate
man.
you having me.
Thank you, brother.
If you guys ever need anything, reach out. I really,
Yes,
again,
sir.
grateful. So
Anytime, brother. Anytime.
Appreciate you. You as well.
All right, brother,
All right,
be safe,
Have
guys.
a good
man.
day, brother.
catch you guys later.